Hello, everyone, and welcome to Crypto Bytes, where we discuss everything crypto airdrop and DeFi farming related on this channel. Today, we're going to be discussing the Mantle Metamorphosis airdrop campaign and how I'm going about farming it. So, with that said, let's jump right in. So, Mantle is a L2, Ethereum L2. In case you're not aware, they launched this airdrop campaign called Metamorphosis. It started approximately 2.5 months ago. It's a 100-day campaign, and as you can see here, there's about 13 days left. So, not too much time, but I do think that if you haven't been involved or if you have been, some of the tips that I give you on this video are going to help you maximize the amount of points, or as they call it, powder, to increase and maximize the allocation that you get for this airdrop. So right now, I've been involved since almost the beginning. I'm ranked about 1700. I'm not too sure how many people are involved, um, but yeah, I think that I'm pretty high up. My goal was to get to about 1,000 by the time this is over, but I think at best I'll probably get to 1,500. That's with a few $1,000s invested in this, so hopefully it goes well. So let's discuss how they're distributing this airdrop first before we get into the specifics. Pretty much what they have is the token that they're issuing through this campaign is going to be called Cook. 5 billion tokens, 15% of that is going to be distributed in this campaign. 5% of that will be going to people that are earning this powder, these points in the Metamorphosis campaign, which we'll get into in a second. Separately from that, 4% will go towards users that are staking Mantle in the Mantle reward station. I'll go over that in a minute. 5% goes to a meme coin project that they launched. It's probably been about 6 or 7 months at this point. 5% of that will go to this puff. I was involved in that since the very beginning, so I'm hoping that I get a good allocation here. The price of puff was going decent for a while. It's down about 50% from kind of where it launched at. But they've done a lot of mini airdrops along the way. So my total out-of-pocket cost on this is negligible. And then, we'll see how the airdrop works. I think it's too late at this point to get involved with this. But you can get involved with the Puff NFT, I believe, which I'll go over that at the end of this video as well. So those are the main ways that you can earn allocation for this Metamorphosis campaign. Let's jump into what I'm doing. Well, actually, we'll go through all the different ways that you can earn powder for this 5% here, and then I'll go into what I'm doing, which I think is probably the most efficient way to get that powder. So here's pretty much the breakdown of what you can do. So basically, you can provide liquidity in these different pools that they have listed here. That earns 40 powder per day per amount of meth that you have staked in these pools. So that's one thing to make sure you're aware of, is when you're staking meth in these pools, that you're only going to be getting powders on the meth portion of that liquidity. So, depending on how you have it set up, most likely that'll be 50-50, but that's why you're getting this 40x per day. I believe that's why they have that maximized. Separately from that, you can, there's some other pools down here that are only getting 30 powders per day. Then you can also get 25 powders per day through Hourglass, and then also on Pendle by staking meth. You can get 25 powder points on per 25x powder per day. And then finally, on these various lending platforms, you can get 20x powder per day based on the amount of meth that you have staked. This is all on the Mantle L2, by the way. They also give points for if you stake on the Ethereum network too, so by staking meth in any of these protocols, you can get 5x powder per day. I don't know why you would want to do that versus staking on Mantle, given the lower gas fees and also the amount of extra powder you can get, but that's certainly an option. So pretty much staking meth, adding it into a liquidity pool, or adding it to a lending protocol. Those are the ways that you can earn powder, which are the points for this campaign. So first thing that I am doing that I've put the vast majority of my funds into is providing liquidity in this Meth USDT pool on Clio. So the reason for that is, as you can see, the APR is quite nice on this, and it's been, between 100 to 400 over the duration of this entire campaign. So, you're getting a very good APY, number one. I already was utilizing Meth and or ETH across DeFi. So, putting my funds in here, getting a nice APR, and then also maximizing the amount of powder I can get per day through this campaign has been quite nice for me. So if obviously you're open to impermanent loss and other issues, but with the nice APY and then also the increased powders, I do believe this is the best way to generate powder for the campaign. I haven't really seen anyone else talking about it, but that's what I've been focused on. And you can see here they have about $250,000 in TVL in this pool alone. So that's the first main way that I'm earning powder. The next one is through a platform called Dolomite. And so pretty much what this is a lending and borrowing platform. I am pretty bullish on ETH in general at this point, given the point in the cycle that we're at. So what I've basically done is I've deposited meth into the various pools, and then I'm borrowing either USDT or USDY, and then I'm looping to maximize the amount of meth that I have deposited on Dolomite, because with that I'm getting approximately, where are we? Right here, I'm getting 20x powder per day per meth that I have on Dolomite. And then in addition to that, the nice thing, not only am I getting leverage on my meth this way, which again, as I've said in other videos, I am quite risk averse at this point. So, you can either not use leverage or tone down the leverage that you're using. But I generally try to keep my positions about 1.2% health, and I just monitor them every few days, depending on how the market's moving. And pretty much I've been able to leave it alone and haven't had any issues. But yeah, that's definitely an option. You can see here that the APY that you're getting on lending meth here is 4%, and then the borrowing amount that you're getting for the USDT or USDY is around 9%. So overall, I'm a net negative of about 2% on what I have here on Dolomite at the moment. But I feel like I'm making that up from the leverage. I'm making that up from the powder that I'm getting with the 20x powder, and then also Dolomite has their own points program as well. So you're earning what they call minerals. You're earning 2,500 of those per meth that you have staked in the borrowing pools there. So I'm up to just under 500 rank here, and again, I'm only using about $1,000 here, and I've only been doing it for the past 2 months. The minerals campaign on Dolomite's been going on for a good 6-7 months now at this point. So yeah, with not a lot of capital relatively, you can rank up quite well, and then you're also able to use leverage to maximize the amount of powder points that you're getting. So that's the next thing that I'm doing to grow the amount of points that I'm getting with the Metamorphosis campaign, as well as attacking this airdrop too. Next thing that we're using is another lending and borrowing platform called Init. They have two ways that you can basically earn the powder here is, one, you can, just like what I was doing on Dolomite, you can lend your meth here, you'll get a 3% APY, and then you can, do the same thing that I'm doing, loop it by borrowing USDC, USDT. The rates are a little bit better here, but I believe that the amount of leverage I can get on Dolomite is a little bit better, so that's why I've chosen that. And also, I wanted to go after the Dolomite um, airdrop. In it also does have an airdrop too. So, you're getting a double airdrop bonus by depositing your funds here. So you can do this by just depositing meth and then borrowing anything else against it and looping through. Or you can also, they have a functionality called hooks, which is what I've been using, where you basically can just deposit meth, it automatically borrows WETH against it, and then you can go up to 5x leverage. I'm at about 4.5 leverage there, and since, assuming that there's no DPEG, which there hasn't been thus far, thankfully, I'm able to grow that 28 powder to, about 80 to 90x powder per dollar of meth that I have deposited in here, and then I'm losing about 5%, which is what I would more or less be losing if I just did the manual looping too. So this makes it a little bit easier because with one click you can just choose your leverage and go. So that's what I'm doing here on Init Capital. Yeah, like I said, they have a points program as well. And yeah, that's pretty much everything there. Next thing that I'm doing, like I mentioned, you get a they're having a 4% allocation for anyone that's staking MNT Mantle's native token in the Mantle reward station. And so the way that this works is not only are you staking Mantle here, but you're also choosing a lockup period anywhere from, I think, 1 month to 12 months. The longer that you stake, the more MNT power you get. I believe I have about $500 in MNT staked here, and I have it going through December. So I chose like the 3 or 4 month lockup. So just because I feel like that's going to be a good amount of time to see what plays out with upcoming, hopefully, bull run here in Q4. And it also let me basically deposit less here, but I get by locking it up, I get more bang for my buck. So that's what I've done here. Since there's only 2 weeks left, you don't have too much time to do anything here. So if you do want to take advantage of the M&T reward station, I would probably recommend going for a longer lockup period and just putting in less capital if you're concerned about locking it up for that long. That way you get more bang for your buck with the time that you have. And the reason why it's something to consider is because, if let's say that if everyone that's farming this 5% here is maybe it's over diluted, but there's less people here, you could end up putting 1,000 here but only 100 here, but because there's less people involved here, you get a bigger allocation that way. So that's why I'm trying to spread myself across all 4 of these sectors to maximize my allocation. So something to consider there. Last but not least, this Puff NFT. So right now, if you go to Element Market, I think on OpenSea you can get them as well. They have a bunch of these Puff Dragon NFTs. You can get, there's different, there's like legendary and then there's common. Right here we're looking at the common ones. So 238 Mantle, this is like $180, $175 each. Hard to tell, what the allocation is going to be exactly, whether spending $175 on one of these is worth it. Personally, I was able to get 2 for a much lower cost because I was involved in the Puff campaign earlier, so I'm covered there. But this is an option if you want to try and get some of that allocation, for a couple $100. So that's pretty much, what the Metamorphosis campaign is about and what I'm doing to try and maximize my allocation. Like I mentioned, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. So please do your own due diligence, figure out what works best for you. But what I'm doing is focusing the majority on the providing of the liquidity on Clio, and then kind of looping funds on Dolomite and Init Capital to get the double airdrop that way. So hope this video has been helpful, and until next time, happy farming.